Can you guys hear me now? Okay, perfect. Okay, let me know if you can hear me. I know there was no sound there for, okay, perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know. Crazy day. All right. I decided to do a live just for fun and update you guys as well because apparently, so you know the beneficial ownership information, it got canceled. Then they made an update that no, you do have to file it, but you have to file it by January 13th. It just got canceled again as of December 27th. So just keep an eye out for that because, as I understand, it's going to be up and down constantly, which is always fun. But yeah, let's get started answering some questions. Uh, all I hear about is fraud. Can you explain the money trail on how this fraud works? How is the fraudulent carrier making money doing this? How does it work? So there are different types of fraud, but I think what you are talking about is something that happened to us. Basically, we booked a load through a broker who was pretty well known, and we delivered the load. But what we found out it was that it wasn't the broker who gave us that load, it was a carrier pretending to be the broker. So what happens is carrier A gets a load from a broker, then carrier A, pretending to be a broker, resells it to carrier B, who actually takes this load unknowingly and delivers it. So they have all the expenses. Then carrier B sends paperwork to the first carrier thinking that this is the broker, and that carrier sends the paperwork to the broker. The carrier B doesn't get paid, but carrier A gets paid by the broker without having any expenses. So this is how it worked when we were victims of this kind of fraud, but we ended up just reaching out to the shipper first, who did not pay us. But the receiver, well, it wasn't the receiver who paid us. The receiver found the original carrier, and basically through all of that, we did get paid, but only a percentage of the rate. How will the market be in 2025? I'm guessing you mean. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I'm curious myself. It looks like the market is showing some signs of life right now that are not yet felt by spot carriers. Contract carriers are having a hard time. That's for sure. And the reason contract carriers are having a hard time is because the contract market moves with the spot market, but with a delay. So they're seeing really, really bad rates relative to what they saw before. And like mega carriers, there is a theory that mega carriers are actually moving some of their capacity to the spot market, which is why we're not seeing capacity decrease as much on the spot market as it should. Hi, guys. Let's see. Everyone hears. Okay, perfect. What if we already filed the BOI? I know that there is, it's funny, on the 26th of December when they said that, yes, you are supposed to file again. I was about to file it and then my internet went out. So I wasn't able to file. And on the 27th, they said that it's canceled. Now, I know as far as I understand, filing a BOI means that you already paid. I would reach out to them directly to see if you can get a refund. But at the same time, just be aware that this might change. From what I see right now, it's just flip flopping back and forth. So, yeah. But I would reach out to them for a refund if they can give it to you. Uh, yeah, Mike. I understand you. Again, the only thing that saved me, it was a blessing in disguise, is when the internet went out. I just, I was filing it. I was at the point where I was supposed to upload the driver's license. And at that point, the internet went out and it was done. And then on the 27th, I read that, oh, you don't have to do it anymore. Just got here, but I'm a follower. How can brokers do this? Usually they don't allow us double brokering. Yeah, I mean, double brokering is um, basically screwing both the carrier who is, on the carrier that transports the load and the broker, because the broker now doesn't know where their load is, and the shipper and the receiver. Yeah, double brokering is a mess, and it's a big problem right now in this industry. True trucker, shout out from Southern California. Shout out from Southern California to you as well. um, We got a lot of scammer brokers in 2024. Yeah, it's becoming so bad that sorry, I have something on my pants. This is becoming so bad that the FMCSA is starting to crack down on addresses, right? If you have a virtual address, it will raise a red flag, and they might do an audit. And I believe highway doesn't allow carriers to have a virtual address. There's a lot going on. The sad part is it's going to also affect those owner operators. There are folks in this industry who just operate in their truck. Sometimes they live in their truck. They don't actually have a physical address. And that's the sad part, that they are going to be affected as well. Got so tired of market fluctuations. I went an AG. Yeah, market fluctuations are not fun. They happen all the time. I think I agree with you. My biggest problem is that there's no stability and you can't predict anything. One day a market is great, the next day or the next week it's horrific. It's frustrating. Mm. In such a case of fraud, what was the penalty on the fraudulent carrier? They shouldn't go scot-free. So, great question. In our case, I don't even know if this was, I mean, I guess it was a carrier. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know how they got the load, but this was a guy who apparently did it to several brokerages. He stole somehow their carrier packets, which made it very, very difficult to tell the difference between who the real broker is and who is the fraudster. I was completely stupid back then. I did not pay attention to his email. I did not check his safer web score. This was a couple of years ago. So that definitely taught me a lesson. I did call the FBI about this guy, and I found all these brokers complaining about this one person. He always had the same phone number. So I did report him to the FBI, but they obviously didn't do anything. They're not going to do anything. So, yeah, not sure. I just got an email a few days ago, just to give you guys an idea. It was from, did I delete it? Darn it. No, I should have it. Hold on. No, I don't. Basically, it was an email from Megacorp. They sent an email to all carriers saying, be careful, there's someone who's using some kind of email address that looks very similar to ours. They have loads from this to this place. This is not Megacorp. It happens everywhere. Mm. How much money do we need to start a dispatching company from home? Dispatching doesn't actually, you don't need much. You need a good internet connection, you need a computer, you need an email, right? I would recommend a scanner or some kind of filing system online. It doesn't take a lot. Dispatching is one of the only professions in the trucking industry that doesn't require you to have a license, doesn't require you to have insurance, doesn't really require much. Yeah, only getting 3,100 on a 900-mile run, the struggle is real. I mean, that's not a bad rate. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, I've noticed, like I said in my previous video, I've noticed that the posted rates are not getting better, but the negotiations are getting easier. So just remember, you always have to negotiate because what's posted is just, it's not exactly what the broker has. I mean, everyone knows that. But the thing is, right now, what might be keeping the market down from everything that I have seen is the fact that we're so used to the rates being so bad that we just agree to the posted rate. And we don't even realize that, hey, right now is the time to negotiate. And the posted rate absolutely means nothing at all. BOI doesn't cost, it's free. Oh, it's free? Someone told me that it costs something to file the beneficial ownership information. Interesting. So refund wouldn't work in that case, but yeah, I'm not sure what to do in the case of you filed. How do you get your, I guess, get the information back? It's annoying. It's annoying when they go back and forth, back and forth. Thank you, Marlon Garcia, so much. How do I get a dispatcher to use their authority for a cargo van? A dispatcher usually will not have authority, just something to be aware of. A dispatcher usually does not have authority because as soon as they have authority, they are a carrier. They need insurance and then they lease on to their service. Now, there are carriers who will lease on owner operators and take 10% for the dispatching and some of the things they do for that owner operator to be able to operate. But a dispatcher by themselves usually will not have an MC because that would no longer be a dispatching service. That would be a carrier. What usually happens is dispatchers will use your MC in order to book loads for you. I hope that helps. Where was I? Okay, BOI doesn't cost, it's free. I didn't have to pay anything. Got it. See, I was misinformed. Thank you for letting me know. Is it worth paying 159 monthly for truck stop load board? In my opinion, yes, because it gives me I mean it depends on what you're looking for in a load board. For me, it's important to see the data. Data is very, very important to me. So that 159 gives me the ability to see that data. It also gives you the rate per mile, but I also use an extension for truck stop, which gives me the total rate per mile with deadhead, which has been very helpful. It lets me send emails very quickly. It just makes it more efficient. Thank you so much, LA 95 Trucking Show. I love your, what is it called? The icon. Thank you so much for your support. Um, I booked a load on my way to get it loaded, found out it was triple booked. I walked away. The guy I booked the load with was, oh my gosh. That, you know who that happened? I've had that experience a lot of times with Convoy when it was, I mean, I know it's alive right now, but it's a little different. But when it was alive, Convoy used to do that. Convoy used to do that all the time. Thank you, Farrell. Fariel. I'm so sorry. If I mispronounced your name, I do apologize. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. By the way, how are you guys doing? How was your Christmas if you celebrate, Hanukkah if you celebrate? What else is there? Holidays, basically. Do you think it will get any better on the market? Yes, I do. I really do. I truly do think it will get better in terms of the market. The authorities are leaving. I mean, the MC numbers are getting shut down, not as much as last year. But what we are seeing right now is that the spot market is not really budging. And the question is why? Volume increased like crazy on the spot market year over year. And this is because the rejection levels have increased, which means as contract carriers reject that freight, it usually ends up on the spot market. Now, volumes increased, but the rates didn't budge. And in the case of flatbeds, as I mentioned in the video, rates actually went down, I believe, 2% year over year, which tells you only one thing. It's not the volume problem, it's a capacity problem. And capacity on the spot market is either increasing or staying the same pretty much. Why is that happening? It's possible it's not coming from new MCs. It's possible it's coming from those mega carriers. Mhm. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think you missed my question about BOC3. If you could help, it will be appreciated. I do apologize. I didn't see your question, Ferial, but BOC3 is basically having a registered agent in each state that you operate. Now, it sounds way more complicated than it actually is. BOC3 is like if you plan to operate in every state in the United States, you just go online and you will find a ton of BOC3 providers. We pay $150 per year. Now, our BOC3 provider was recommended to us by the company that helped us start our trucking company. But there are a ton of BOC3 providers that you pay once and you don't have to pay again unless you change something within the company. So it's very, very easy. And it's basically you need blanket coverage for each state that you operate. So if you plan to operate in the lower 48, you need a BOC3 that will give you a registered agent in each state, in each of those 48 states. And it's basically if something happens, if there's a lawsuit that's happening, those registered agents are able to take that mail on your behalf or whatnot, the legal documents on your behalf. It's very, very simple. It's very simple. And I can actually, you know what? Oops, what happened? Let me see. BOC3 provider. I'm going to post a link right now to the FMCSA, the ones that they recommend, and you are able to use any one of those here. Or you can find your own. It's really super simple. Let's see if it posts. Yep, it posted. So I posted a comment. How do I find a dispatcher for a cargo van? That is a great question. From what I have seen, a lot of carriers, a lot of owner operators look for dispatchers on Facebook. On Facebook, I know of a couple of dispatching companies. There's Ninja Dispatch, there's Bumblebee Dispatch. I can't recommend any of them though, because I have always dispatched my own trucks. I have never used a dispatching service. I have always done it in-house. It was always me, yours truly. Hi there. Where are you based out of? California. We're based out of California, which causes a lot of problems. Mm. DAT did nothing and continues to allow this broker. Yeah, apparently someone has been commenting under pretty much every video that I release that DAT is now no longer allowing folks without an MC number to get a subscription to their load board in order to prevent fraud. Before, a dispatcher without an MC could still see the load board and get access to it. And that is apparently going to stop. Again, it affects other people too, right? There are owner operators who don't have their own MC who lease on to carriers, and they like being able to see what's actually going on the load board and maybe even suggesting some loads to their dispatcher. And that also prevents them from doing it, unfortunately. All farm pickups, eggs, milk. I remember when we had a reefer, egg loads paid so well. Milk was okay, but eggs paid really well because they're so fragile. Um, I know you don't agree with the strike, but I've been doing this for 36 years as an owner operator. Yeah. So it's not that I don't agree with the strike. I do very much so. And I actually made a video a while back saying, let's make a plan. The problem is that I see is a strike is great in theory, and it would be great if it actually was executed properly. But in order to execute, you need a lot of people to be on the same page. And what I have seen is that folks, they like to talk about how important a strike is, but they are not ready to actually join it because they have truck payments, they have trailer payments, they have this, they have that, and stopping would mean that they would default. So there are a lot of people that want it to happen as long as they don't have to participate. And when there are a ton of people like that, it doesn't work. To get everyone on the same page is the hard part. That's why I said maybe let's start with something like stop posting your trucks, stop calling on loads, don't accept the rate that is posted. Always negotiate. I have been averaging at like last month or this month, sorry, December, I have been averaging $200 extra on loads. And this is better than what I have seen in a very, very long time. So it has to start in a way where it's doable for those that are not able to strike because there are a lot of people like that. I hope that makes sense. Email is port to port. Definitely turn it into FBI. The source can always be tracked. Yeah, I mean, I turned everything in. I gave the phone number. I gave them. They didn't ask for me to forward the email, but I gave them the email address. He used everything. They did not do anything with it, and they actually told us that the likelihood of them actually doing something about it is slim to none. Yeah. I recently got screwed by a broker, so I went to file a claim to their bond, and I come to find out that any commodity that has to do with food, livestock are exempt from claims. So what's the point? Yikes. Really? That is crazy. So I learned something. There's another thing that everyone should be aware of because this seems to be maybe for one broker. This is like a particular for this broker, but something that you guys have to be aware of. Claims or filing against a broker's bond will not work if the load was intrastate. If you like, we had a situation where we picked up in Nevada and delivered in Nevada. So it was an intrastate load. And we did two loads back to back with this broker who ended up shutting down and not paying us. I still didn't receive the money for it. That doesn't work because apparently those bonds, those claims, are regulated by the federal government. And as soon as you do an intrastate load that is within a state, they are no longer liable. Just be aware of that. I keep wanting to say your name. That is relatable. Compete with all the Pakistan. There are a lot of dispatch services. That's true. A lot of dispatch services that are out of the U.S. Yeah, a lot of Eastern Europeans, a lot of Indian, Pakistani. And the reason is because there's a demand for them. They charge almost nothing for their dispatching services, but I am of the belief that in this kind of market, if you're able, don't get a dispatching service. Why don't you just try to dispatch yourself? You're going to save that money. You're going to learn the market much better. You're going to be able to plan your operations. I'm for doing everything as much as you can by yourself. I have always operated that way. I try not to outsource. Yeah. Before Christmas Day, we booked a load from 50 miles Des Moines, Iowa to Batavia, Illinois. When would broker say 8 a.m. next day? And say my appointment is, and then I lost you. I didn't see, 3 p.m. made me lose 2 days detention. Yeah. So I had a similar situation. It wasn't quite similar. We picked up a load, also, I think it was Iowa. It wasn't Des Moines, Iowa, but it was Iowa. It was delivering to South Dakota. I picked it up on Thursday. I picked it up. I booked it on Thursday. My guy picked it up on Thursday, and it was supposed to deliver on Friday. It was a short load. He picked up the load, and then the broker calls and says, "I'm so sorry. The receiver actually doesn't work on Friday. You'll have to deliver Monday." And it's like 4 days lost. I got so mad. He did end up paying us a ton of money for that load. So I am very, very grateful for that. And he handled it very well because I started screaming. I lost my shit completely. I did not handle myself in a professional manner, but I appreciate the fact that he did. And he did end up paying a fair amount, a very fair amount, but it still was less than what we would have made if we took a long load. But yeah, these kinds of things happen. I realize this industry, everybody lies. It's from, from someone like TA to brokers to carriers to dispatchers. Everybody lies. Everybody lies. Um, It's not that I'm guessing you're talking about the beneficial ownership information. It's not that expensive. Do- uh, are we talking about beneficial ownership information? um, oh, don't worry about a refund. And then someone said uh, only third parties charge to file your BOIR. Interesting. Yeah, be careful. Always go directly to the site. Also, be careful with UCR. I have to make this announcement. Be very careful with UCR because UCR costs, I believe, $47 if you have up to 2 trucks. There is a company, when you type in, you file UCR, it looks like the government website, and they tell you, oh, for an express UCR filing, we'll charge you $300. It's express anyway. Once you file your UCR, you get the PDF within a second. It's downloadable. So just be careful. Just wish I wasn't getting sent on a load without having a load secured near drop off or even knowing what the market there is. And sadly, it's because the owner is the one on the boards. Yeah, so I understand that there are a lot of folks who really want their loads back to back. I am one of those people. I struggle with that, to be completely honest. I really, really struggle with the ability to pre-book loads because so much can go wrong. Like for example, I nearly pre-booked a Friday load we were in Oregon or Washington, no, Washington. And he had an appointment to deliver at 8 a.m. sharp. So he got there, they started unloading. So everything was going well. That load that I was waiting on the rate confirmation from, it fell through. And then just to find out the last part of the load, they cannot unload because they don't have some extension for the forklift. So he got stuck there until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we lost Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He ended up deadheading to California. That's 1,000 miles because that's where my business partner lives. And, for New Year's and everything, but it's better than taking some crap for what was it posted for 30 cents per mile on a Saturday? There was a load. No, thank you. Yeah. But the point is, pre-booking, it can be really good, but it can also be very bad. And considering what's happening with freight guards and carrier 411, I think everyone's a little bit wary of pre-booking and then being considered a fall off because of things that are out of their control. Larry, I hope when Trump will start the deportation, get rid of the illegal ones out of trucking. So here's the thing. I get this comment a lot, but I have a question for you guys. Maybe you can enlighten me because I was thinking about this. People who drive in the trucking industry, there is a group of folks who drive without a CDL. We all know it. One of them was deported several times and kept coming back, and then ended up killing a couple of people while driving a truck without a CDL. But for the majority of the folks, they have a CDL. You cannot get a CDL unless you're legally here. Does that make sense? You cannot get a CDL, commercial driver's license, unless you are here legally and you have some kind of either a green card, I don't even know, work permit, maybe work permit, green card, or citizenship, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, please correct me. Mm, 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 mm. We're seeing brokers undercut brokers, so the broker may not be getting what you think. You have to refuse until the shipper has to. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Brokers, what we forget, or what we try to kind of sweep under the rug, is that brokers are facing a ton of competition right now from other brokers. And the goal is to just get that business, right? Get that customer, maybe at a cheap rate right now, but build a relationship so that they can make up for it in volume later on. Now, because there are so many brokers out there competing with each other, everyone undercuts, and it ends up translating to trucking as well. Hello. Smarty pants. Hi, guys. If you ever want triple booked horror stories, talk to a step deck driver who has done oil rig crane move, but at least often you can get a fat chunk of tono. Interesting. I am I the only one? I love horror stories, like trucking horror stories or broker horror stories. I love like listening to those things just to find out what's actually out there. Mm, how was he able to post the load on the load boards? I must have either missed your other question, but I'm gonna guess you're talking about someone who is a double broker or someone who is pretending to be a bro. Oh, are you talking about my situation? My situation, he did not post the load on the load board. If you're talking about how we became victims of fraud, I didn't call on that load. I had my truck posted. He called me and he said that this is my company name, yada, yada, yada. I searched him up. Everything was great. He sent me the paper setup packet. It looked legit. It looked like it was from the company. Everything was fine. I did not pay attention to his email, nor his phone number, nor did I call the actual broker from the Safer Web to confirm that this guy works for him. After that happened, this is why I became so particular in who I work with, and I double check everything. Pretty much every single broker, except for those that I'm very, very familiar with already, like King of Freight. I know the way they send their emails. I'm very aware of how they work. TQL, when I used to work with them, I don't work with them anymore. There are certain brokers that I know well enough to know that this is them, but everyone else, I go to Safer, call the brokerage and say, does this guy work for you? Or does this girl work for you? And this was because of this experience. But yeah, he never posted. That's why be careful posting your trucks as well. You're going to get a lot of scammy calls. Mm, if you can explain a little bit about BOC3 and if it needs to be renewed every year, I have 1 year authority. Great question. Usually, no, you do not have to renew it every year. We do. We use a BOC3 provider that has to be renewed every single year, but I think it's time to switch from them. Usually, you do not have to renew unless something changes in the company. Your company name changes, your company, I believe, address changes, and so on and so forth. But yeah, for the most part, you do not have to renew every year if everything stays the same within your company. How does Google Link cost? I'm not sure what you mean, Trey. uh, well, since I'm going through every comment, where does trucking fit in? Oh my goodness. I don't get political on my channel, but trucking, just to give you an overview, trucking is very closely tied to the economy. The economy is very closely tied to the policies of the administration and so on and so forth. So trucking does definitely get affected by, who the president is, what the administration looks like, what their agenda is in terms of the rules and regulations. Not so much on the state level, I would say, but on the federal level, yeah, trucking gets affected. The economy gets affected depending on what the sentiment of people is, and so on and so forth. You are so welcome. I'm a member of NASTC. They are great for BOC3. Oh, interesting. There we go. Feriel, there is That kind of there are a ton of BOC3 providers. This must have been a while ago. I'm a little bit late. I'm 20 minutes late, actually. I'm so sorry. I'm a very slow reader. Bye, Roberto. Um, oh, I'm so sorry. I missed your. Thank you so much, Marlon. Thanks for the answer. Are you able to give me carriers that are willing to work with me with no authority for a cargo van truck? Are you able to give me carriers that are willing to work with no authority for? You mean to lease on? Guys, I'm not very familiar with cargo van trucks, but folks, if you guys know of any carrier who leases on owner operators with a cargo van, can you drop a comment, please? We will book loads between $3 to $4 per mile, and brokers will book the same load at $2. You see it pop up at 180 on the spot. When it doesn't cover, we get it for 4. Yeah, that's the best thing. That's why I say the best negotiation tactic is just to wait it out, to kind of rattle them. It sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. The past week, it's been very, very difficult to wait it out. It seems like everybody's panicking and booking everything, but negotiation became easier. I have a private dispatcher. She's looking for more trucks. There we go. Do I need to do the renewal of BOC3? So no, again, you do not need to. It depends on who your BOC3 provider is. In our case, yeah, it's the kind of BOC3 provider that just has an annual fee that you have to pay. But there are plenty of BOC3 providers where you just pay once and you do not have to renew unless there's a change of information. You don't have to pay every year. When you're leased on, you always use the MC that you're leased to and won't have a problem. Correct. This is a question for you guys because I'm not very familiar with hotshot trucking, but is it a good time to start hotshotting? I would say not yet, because hotshot is still part of the general market. I think that, I mean, right now the market is still pretty challenging. Are there some green, what are they called? Green shoots? Yeah, a little bit, but they're not felt yet. Hello, any recommendations for an ELD? We have always used Motive. I enjoy Motive. I researched this fraudster company name changed many times. The OT number changed over and over. The address remained the same. Yikes. Well, those are red flags. If the DOT number is changing over and over and the company name is changing. Yeah. It's hard to some fraudsters, it's really hard to catch. I keep telling this story. There was this one guy who sent me an email, one of the folks who is part of our YouTube group, and he sent me an email showing how difficult it is to tell a fake broker from a real one. And the email, it was what is it called? It was at uh, I think what I don't remember who the broker was, but let's say abctrucking.com is the real one. And here it was abctrucking dot or dot one or something.com, abctrucking.ones. It was such a tiny little thing that it's almost impossible to tell the difference. Or they do, you know what they like to do? They do broker name, like at brokername.com, and the fraudster will do at brokernameLLC.com. It's insanity. Stuart, is there any good news for the spot market? I need this. Um, on one hand, yes. On the other hand, no. So the good news for the spot market is that the volume really did increase for pretty much the 3 main equipment types year over year. The rates did not. This tells us that on the volume side, it's resilient. That's good news. The problem is with capacity for some reason on the spot market not decreasing as much. We have to wait and see what happens next. I paid cash for my truck. When they are ready, I am ready to strike. Yeah. We have our trucks financed, but we would be ready. In our company, we would be ready as well. I think a real strike, it would make a change for sure, but it has to be a real one where a majority is on the same page, where it actually makes a dent in that market. Mm, kind of like giving illegal aliens a pass as long as you don't have to suffer the consequences. I must have missed what that relates to, or I'm really late. I am really late. I'm now 15. Well, I'm catching up. No, I was 20 minutes late. Now I'm 18 minutes late. Um, I agree with you. I'm a new carrier with new authority. If I go to strike now, I will not be able to. Yeah, see that this is the problem. 100%. 100%. Um, if you have the equipment with no monthlies, yes. If no, then no. Even with the yes, you'll have a hard time if it's a new MC. You don't want to rely on a hot shot starting fresh right now. Thank you for answering that hot shot question. I appreciate it. Striking will never work. People need to just stop blaming brokers and look in the mirror. Yeah, stop blaming brokers does not go all. Look, I'm not for blaming all your problems on one party. 100%. It's not the right thing to do. And I actually made a agreement with myself that, you know what, before I point the finger at anyone else, I'm going to point the finger at myself and see what did I do wrong. Agreed. But the reality is the blaming brokers part, it doesn't even come from the fact. Now I'm speaking for a lot of people, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I see it, blaming brokers doesn't come from the fact that, it's not even a money thing. It's how they behave when they're in power. You know, when they have the power on their side. It's despicable. So that's my 2 cents. And in terms of blaming someone, everyone's to blame. For this market, everyone's to blame. How do you find drivers fast? There's no way to find drivers fast if you're looking for a quality driver. Best ways to look for them. There's the Truckers Report forum. I had 2 amazing drivers come from the Truckers Report. Facebook groups, hit or miss. TF1. It was okay. It was okay. Yeah. Or referrals. Can you claim it as a loss when you do taxes? You mean the fraudulent load? The fraudulent load, I mean, the income was much less. Yeah. I got scammed on a load. My dispatcher didn't verify all the oh yeah. That it's hard. It's hard to remind yourself. A dispatcher, especially if they have a ton of trucks, it becomes very difficult because in this market you also have to be very quick. So the more time you spend on trying to check everything, the more chance that you lose the load. So it's not easy. It's not easy to do that, but can it save you a ton of money in the long run? Yes, it can. I really highly recommend checking everything always. Truckers will never strike. Too many foreign drivers. They don't care about the rate. I think everyone cares about the rates, just to different degrees. I have sneaky under the door. Meh. Anyway, they to different degrees. For some people, $1.50 is amazing. For others, $1.50 is the crappiest load out there. um, Nobody should have a dispatch service. I mean, depends on who you ask. Why would you say that nobody should have a dispatch service? I agree that if it's better if you learn to dispatch yourself, you save so much money. Plus, you learn a lot dispatching yourself. But I'm curious about what you think. So, hi, Del. I'm so glad. Very, very glad you enjoyed the videos. What is IFTA and how do we go about it? IFTA is the International Fuel Tax Agreement. So As you drive through different states, you have to keep a log of how many miles you drove in each state versus how many gallons of fuel you got in each state. And then every quarter you pay taxes on that. And filing, it depends on where you are, like where you're based out of. It depends on your state. Um, yeah. Ah, driverless truck rejected by. I'm not familiar with that topic. More H-1Bs. Let's really destroy the industry. Hopefully, that's not going to happen. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Uh, how much does Load Connect cost? What is Load Connect? Hold on. I'm not. Oh, that's not the extension I have. Load Connect is not the extension I have, but according to their pricing, starter is $18 per month, pro is $28 per month for one dispatcher. Hi, Miranda, Midwesterner here. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. I'm so excited about this New Year's. Toot. Knock on wood. Hopefully 2025 is stress-free or a little bit less stressful. How did this year treat you and your partners? It's been a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. 2024, I thought 2023 was bad. 2024 kicked my behind. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but we survived and we will continue with God's help doing so until the market turns. Truckers for freedom. Yes. uh Start an owner operator union. Yeah, I wish I could, but sometimes I like to imagine myself the next Jimmy Hoffa. But then I realize, no, I'm just Miranda. I'm just trying to survive, keeping my head above water. Do you have sisters? I do not have sisters. I'm an only child. I got scammed by a broker that was fraudulent, credit checked out, but my dispatcher didn't verify contact information. Oh, yeah, that's the credit checked out. Yeah, the best way to do it is through Safer. That's just the most straightforward way. And then call the brokerage and ask, does this person work with you? If they say, I'm not sure, well, is this an email from your brokerage? Da, 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 da. You don't lie, Miranda. You're perfect. I'm far from perfect, but I do appreciate it. um, I already answered this question. I got 2 weeks off, been loving it. Got a safety class to attend before we start back up. Yeah, it's important to take a break. It's important to take a break. I'm just right now, I'm realizing that, oh my God, I am actually able to take a small break. It's exciting. Hi, Matthew from Denver. I'm a one truck operation owner operator with my own authority pulling a reefer. Any tips for negotiating rates and profitable lanes to run out of North Carolina? So, reefer, I need to remind myself. If you want to shoot me an email, it's talkabouttrucking@gmail.com so I can do a deeper dive. I'd be happy to do so. In terms of negotiations with reefers, at least when we were operating reefers, one of the things that always worked is waiting it out because reefers actually need to transport things that are perishable. So they don't have that kind of timeline that, for example, a flatbed or a dry van even would have. They have a really strict schedule. But if you just shoot me an email with your question, I'll be happy to do a deep dive into that. I got once blindsided to subscribe to the load board. I can't pronounce that when my MC was just 2 months old. Now I'm stuck with a contract payment with absolutely no value. And any idea of how to get out of such a mess? I have never, I don't know. Can anyone help? Wait, let me find this Silectus, Silectus, Silectus. And you have to pay monthly. When does your contract expire? Uh, have you tried talking to them and saying like, "Hey, I don't need this anymore. Thanks so much. It wasn't any help." Yikes, I'm sorry that happened. Those folks are driving the prices down because they're willing to work for less. 100%. 100%. Mm. May Safety Blitz had 25% of drivers out of service for not having a CDL. Holy crap. Yeah, then then the immigration thing will definitely excuse me, my tongue froze. The immigration thing is definitely going to have an effect. 25% didn't have a CDL. That is insane. Yes, interstate loads are exempt, and some commodities are also exempt from bond claims. Any suggestions or recommendations to pursue legal action and advice? I do not have, unfortunately, any recommendations of what to do there. I What I ended up doing when that happened, it just didn't amount to anything, is if you cannot file against the bond, go after the shipper because they are legally supposed to pay you. Go after the shipper first. If they say no, go after the receiver. Try that. Try that because that usually works. For me, it didn't unfortunately work, but usually it does from what I hear. I was very successful as a driver in dealing where we had issues with pickup and drop off. Gift of gab is a true gift. Much better results with smaller companies than larger. This new administration is not going to help or hurt the trucking industry. We shall see. Oh, I'm so sorry, Hell Pike. I missed that. It doesn't tell me for some reason anymore. When thank you so much for your support. Can you explain why you don't approach shippers directly and establish contacts? I've been looking at talking with them directly to cut out many middlemen in the industry. There are a couple of reasons. Number one is time. I'm so pressed for time all the time. That's so bad. I'm pressed for time. And I am not able to, unfortunately, uh, find the time needed to reach out to shippers at the moment. Number two is because we are not large enough for a lot of shippers to want to do consistent business with us. I had an idea of doing something different. Of when I book a load going somewhere, before we get there, I call the shippers around and say, "Hey, I have a truck literally right there. Do you have any loads for us?" I was thinking about that, but I haven't gotten to that yet. Number three, why I work off the load board is I do like keeping my finger on the pulse of what is happening right now. I'm not saying contacting shippers is a bad idea, not at all. I think it's a fantastic. It's the right idea. I just haven't been able to find the kind of time I need because I'm literally always either buried under problems that I'm solving, or I also have two little kids. I also have that part, the family part. I can't split myself in two. I wish I could clone myself. That would be great. Yeah. Are you against factoring? No, I factor. We factor our loads and we use RTS factoring. Booked a load that paid extra because it was being booked day before, and that was a requirement to guarantee you being there early 5 a.m. It was an oil rig move, 23 trucks there, 12 got loaded, rest tono. Yikes. We had a situation out of Utah where we booked a load that was really, it was a good load. And as we were going there, they canceled it because the shipper, apparently their loading equipment broke down. And the broker told me they had to cancel 6 trucks that were already there, but I don't know. um, They get the same work permits that farmers use to hire immigrants, H-1B visas. Businesses hire them, also prevent them from paying a company driver what they should. Correct, Angela. You sound democratic. Please do not try to guess where I stand politically. I do not talk about that on my channel. And your kind of comment I get all the time from both sides. It would be much easier for me to tell you guys exactly where I stand, but this channel is just not about that. Horror story, hauled 4K load of hay, customer refused to pay because claimed it didn't scale. I didn't scale it tarp. You hauled 4,000 4 or 40? 4,000 loads of hay because claimed I didn't scale it tarp. Yeah, with hay, you always have to scale in and scale out. It's kind of annoying. And when it's tarped hay, I don't take those loads. I refuse because tarping hay is just a pain in the butt. Can a Canadian citizen drive in the US with a Canadian company? Like if I have a business and I can take a load from the US to the US? No. So okay. So interesting question. There is something happening. What is this? B1 visas, I believe. Which visa is it? There are Canadian carriers who are allowed to, and this is happening with bordering countries, Canada and Mexico. So a Canadian carrier, from what I understand, can haul from Canada into the US and then get their load. They have to then head back to Canada for their next load. They're not allowed to haul within the US. They start competing with the US based carriers, but that's what they end up doing. But yeah, that's as far as I know. How can I change my information in the FMCSA without affecting my MC number? Sometimes brokers said they cannot give you a load because you change your phone or address. Yeah, that's a new thing. You change your information using Form MCS 150. But yes, that is a new thing that brokers, if you change your address or if you change your phone number, they right away associate you with some fraudster. So that's just a new reality that we live in. And it becomes kind of, you just have to follow I mean, you just have to find a different broker who is not going to bite your head off for that because you do have to legally keep your information updated. Till the war in Ukraine is over, we're all in for a rough ride. I deliver a lot for the auto industry, and that includes EV autos, and it's slow at best. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a correlation. The moment the war started, it was February of 2022, is the moment the market started going down. That the prices for fuel skyrocketed, I remember. Crazy. That's why the old heads truckers keep telling you to buy cash trucks so you can park it until rates correct itself. The brokers need to beg and get desperate. Correct. They're correct. Yeah, 100%. I'm using Motive ELD, but I like the interface of GeoTab a lot more. I have never used GeoTab. I have used Motive, and there was another one that we had to get intermittently because Motive couldn't ship out an ELD, an extra ELD fast enough. I think it's now canceled by the FMCSA. It was Blue something. It was like this little thing that you plug into your truck and you have the app, but it was terrible. JJ Keller is probably the best BOC3 filer. It's a one-time fee unless you change name and address, and it's a blanket filing covering all 50 states. Most others want a fee per additional state. I'm going to have to go for JJ Keller because I do like them. They have saved my butt multiple times. They have a permit service. They have a lot of different things. They're very knowledgeable about the legalities of everything. So thank you for that. I am going to use JJ Keller for my next BOC3 filing. I blacklist TQL due to cheap loads. I blacklisted them, not just the cheap loads was not an issue for us because we built a hell of a reputation with TQL. And yeah, they gave us pretty good, decent rates. But the way they screwed us over, uh, yeah, I also blacklisted them, which is very, very sad because this was the first broker that I have worked with. And I thought, okay, we're building a reputation. It's going to mean something. No, it means nothing to them. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. Mm. What computer system do you use to manage the tickets? Like tickets, like when speeding, run a stop sign tickets kind of thing. I do everything on my system Airtable. Everything is done on Airtable. Stop financing and leasing your life away. At that point, you're just Paying out all the money you worked for, 100%. I keep getting phone calls from Super Ego. Yeah, broker, right? I've never worked with them, I don't think. I don't know where they got my information. I never wait, Super Ego, is that a broker? I don't know where they got my information. I never applied for them, but they're the last company I would work for. Interesting. Why does Super Ego sound so familiar? What is that? Super Ego. Can't even find them. Is the BOI in effect as of yet? No, that it got canceled again, but keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for what's going to happen with BOI because it got canceled, that it got reinstated, then it got canceled again. Guys, Jimmy Carter has passed away just now. I just got a notification. Hmm. Yeah. Motive rocks. Yeah, I like Motive for sure. Uh, Even if they were the last carrier on earth, I would never. Where do you file the BOI? You don't have to file right now, but BOI filing is right here. I'm going to send you guys a link just in case something changes again and they decide, yeah, now you have to file. So it's done here. Filing. So I sent it in the chat. You are so welcome. Does a new owner operator have to purchase a trailer on top of owning a truck? No, not necessarily. You can be a power only, which means that you just hook up to different trailers. You can also lease a trailer from the carrier. Usually they have some trailers to lease. If you want your own trailer, you can rent it or you can buy it. Yeah. Explain BOI. I'm a C Corp. BOI is if you have less than 20 full-time employees, basically you're a small business, you're required to file. But you are not actually required to file right now because the courts are going back and forth. There are basically two sides, and one side really wants this BOI filing, the other side doesn't want it, and it got like it was a requirement, then it got canceled, then it became a requirement again. And on the 27th, 2 days ago, it got canceled again. They're just figuring out their own mess right now. Uh, Nice to see you're up and about. Happy New Year's and bye for now. House cleaning is due. Thank you. Happy New Year's. Yeah, I'm so excited. Tomorrow, I love baking. You guys know I bake dance. Baking is the one thing that really removes stress for me. And tomorrow I'm going to be baking for New Year's, and I'm so excited because I'm going to be baking all these different things that I unfortunately can't eat, but it's amazing. Uh, Hello, I see the trucking industry is similar to the cannabis industry. They're also complaining about too many heads in the business cookie jar. Interesting. I am not very familiar with the cannabis industry, but that's interesting. Having factoring companies would protect from not getting paid and would be a small fee for scamming. No, that's not true. It depends on what kind of factoring you have. If you have recourse factoring, that means if the broker does not pay, the factoring company comes after you and say, now you owe us money. Happened to us several times. Or if the broker underpays. Non-recourse factoring does exist. It's when the factoring company, if they don't get paid, they just assume that risk and they are not going to go after you. The fee is usually higher, and non-payment usually has to fit into some specific category, like the broker went out of business because of being bankrupt or something like this. So it's not as cut and dry. But yeah, recourse versus no recourse. Do we need a permit every time we cross Kentucky? Yeah, you can get a permit. They do require a permit. It's one that does not have to be renewed. You don't have to renew it every year. It's a forever permit until you cancel it, but you do have to file quarterly taxes on it, depending on how many miles every quarter you drove in Kentucky. I pay for a private dispatcher because I drive the truck, do the paperwork, maintenance, compliance. So having someone searching for loads while I'm working is a big benefit. 100%. A good dispatcher can definitely be a good asset. The problem is you have to find that good dispatcher. Yeah. But a good dispatcher can really help out. Can I get my CDL and start my own authority from the get-go? Do I need to own a trailer with my truck, or can I operate without a trailer and use the shippers? You can technically get your CDL, start an authority from the get-go. Remember, the insurance is going to be extremely high cost-wise, because not only are you a new CDL holder, you are now a new entity. So finding insurance might be a challenge. You do not need to own a trailer with the truck in order to get your authority, the MC number. In order to get the insurance, they will ask you for the VIN of your truck. So you do have to have a truck. Um, but yeah, you can do power only. When you don't have a trailer, you're basically operating power only and picking up the shipper's trailers. How has your luck been getting flatbed loads out of, I'm sorry, James, I didn't know, sense? My, just in general, my flatbed loads, I have been lucky in terms of negotiations have become easier, but yeah, there are not as many loads. It's also not the season for flatbeds right now. Thank you, Hell Pike. Will you be my dispatch? I will email, or can I at least consult with you? You can absolutely consult with me. Send me an email with your questions. In terms of dispatching, I do not offer that service. I dispatch my own trucks, but I'm hoping to in the future. Thank you, BC, for your support. I appreciate it, guys. I really, really do. Where was I? If I have questions, can I email them to you? Yeah, absolutely. Talkabouttrucking@gmail.com. Email them to me. Yeah. I called a broker and had a new lane, and I negotiated 1,950, but I wasn't set up with him. So I called back when I was done, and another driver booked it for 800. Oh. Yeah, see, that's the problem. Like when people say that it's a problem when people can operate at a cheaper rate, that's a problem. Yeah. I hate when that happens though. I haven't been able to find out what another carrier booked the load for, but I hate when you found a load, especially when it's a tough market and you found that one good load and the broker is like, "Well, I can't hold it for you. You have to get set up. If you get set up before it gets booked, it's yours." And then it takes me about 5 minutes on average to get set up unless it's through my carrier packets or highway, which is just a minute at most, and the load is gone. And I'm like, seriously, I hate when that happens. Ah, hi, do you believe in intrusion, the driverless truck at nearest 10 years? Uh, Sasha, I don't think, no, I think there will be some driverless trucks, of course, but I think that the federal government is still so, it needs to control everything. I don't think that driverless trucks are going to, how do you say it, replace the current setup of the trucking industry. Uh, are you planning to update your safety course? Because websites and others are different right now. Yeah, I'm planning to update the carrier course because I know setting up your authority is a little bit different right now. Yes, I am for sure. Thank you, Feriel. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, Feriel, about your BOC 3 question, just as kind of the last point, someone said JJ Keller. Try JJ Keller, because JJ Keller, I've never done BOC3 through them, but they're amazing. They have helped me a ton in all different aspects of understanding how to do things the correct way. Let's see. I lost my place. Oh, Honestly, I think the trucking industry will never be the same, or sorry, will never be united. Sorry, I was oops. In my opinion, one reason is everyone's expenses are different. Maybe there should be an industry minimum rate for the loads, maybe. Yeah, mm, that's exactly the problem. That's exactly the problem is everyone's cost to operate is different. And for one person, this market is super profitable. And for another one, it's enough to put them out of business. 100%. Why California bound loads are very cheap. Yeah. Loads to and from California are very cheap, at least for flatbeds. I don't know. It's actually surprising. I would think it would be different considering the AB5 law here, and the fact that it should have technically, theoretically slashed capacity a little bit. It didn't. Yeah. California is, I'm not a fan of California, although it's a beautiful state, but darn, is it hard to survive here. I've seen you on my recommended feed and watched for a while, and I subbed. Your accent is lovely. Thank you so much. You're the first person to tell me that my accent is nice, if I didn't miss anyone. Usually people criticize it or kind of point it out or try. No one compliments my accent. See, for the longest time, until I started YouTube, because English is my first language. It has, it's a common misconception that English is my second language. No, English is my first language. I have been speaking English from the moment I was born. I mean, that was the first language I learned. But I never thought I had an accent until I started doing YouTube and everyone started pointing it out. I'm like, really? Is that obvious? um, Why are California loads very cheap? It's because brokers made up a term that drivers and carriers fell for called a backhaul. Love it. Um, will the market get better after Trump's oath ceremony? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The market is dependent on consumers. It's dependent on, for flatbeds, it's the housing market. It's dependent on what happens with these policies, these tariffs, and what the sentiment will be. So, yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. Phone messed up and posted, "Oh, okay. I got paid $4,000 for a hayload because screenshot text ways and load tarped, so customer was forced to pay. Cover your butt always." Yes, 100%. Yes, you have to cover your butt. Also, a reminder always to take photos of the loaded product on your truck and right before it's getting unloaded. That has saved us from claims more times than one, because of the Carmack law? Carmack amendment, yeah. Happy Sunday, things will get better, absolutely. They always do. You just have to be patient enough to get to that point, but they will, and happy Sunday. Thoughts on Prime going all lease and driver-facing cameras? I don't understand why anyone would work for them. Okay, so all lease, I don't know, but driver-facing cameras is something that I am extremely against. I think that is a violation on the highest level of privacy. We had one insurance, I remember, for physical damage that it was Cover Whale that basically we got that insurance, everything was fine. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, you need a driver facing cam. I'm like, well, you're not my insurance anymore. And so a few weeks later, they actually canceled that requirement. But yeah, driving facing cameras, no, absolutely no, never. Super Eager does the same to me. It's a really crappy carrier. Interesting. I thought it was a broker. Ah, oh no. um, They should have kept their name, Keep Trucking. I agree. I don't like the motive, Go motive. I like Keep Trucking. And I liked their logo before too, the KT, and the colors, the white and blue. Oops, where did I go? I just skipped everywhere. There we go. Um, did the Yes, the beneficial ownership information got Uh, wait, yeah, it got overturned on the 27th, where you do not have to file now. So basically, again, it was overturned, so you did not have to file. Then they overturned it again, so you did have to file. And on the 27th, they overturned it again, where you do not have to file. Here's a tip for flat steps RGNs new to business. Talk to auction yards that do equipment at cars. Get in their recommended carrier list for clients who win an auction but don't have a truck. Thank you so much for that tip. Oh, holy crap, Tony, you did not have to do that, but I appreciate it. Wow. Merry Christmas to me. Thank you so much. The only two ways for trucking rates to improve is one, increase manufacturing in the US, correct? Two, rail has major issues. Yes, they do. I was surprised at how much rail competes with trucking. If rail goes electric, it will be difficult for trucking carriers to compete with them. Or am I missing something? No. So, two, there is a third way for trucking to improve. Yes, rail actually, we all knew that rail competes like crazy with the trucking industry. I just didn't know that it's to that degree. When I read that rail, how many trucks was it? Like 2,000, 3,000 trucks per week are losing out on loads because of rail, right from Los Angeles to Chicago. Manufacturing is a big one because, of course, if you manufacture everything in the US, every part is getting moved by the truck and it increases the volumes. Another way is capacity to decrease. And that can be done either by setting the bar for entering the industry a little higher. It's very easy, relatively speaking, to enter into trucking right now, relatively speaking, or for it to get, I mean, I don't know how else would capacity decrease for it to get really bad at first so that people don't survive. Yeah. But realistically, it's just increasing the bar of how people get into trucking. Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know why I just did that. Where was I? Okay, there we go. On BOI, I saw someone charging 250. Isn't this a free filing? So I didn't know that. I thought you have to pay, but not 250. I thought it was a small amount. BOI is apparently everyone's saying it's free, but there are third-party providers who will file it for you who are probably charging you 250. That's a very important question. So I'm baking a cake. It's a honey cake. We call it midavik. It's a traditional cake. So I'm baking that. Then I'm baking puff pastries with cream inside, and then I'm baking a roll-up cake, and then I'm going to make Georgian bread because for those of you who don't know, I'm half Georgian, half Ukrainian, and I'm thinking of also making khachapuri, which is a traditional Georgian cheese bread if I have time. I love baking. Thank you, Gilberto, for the support. Yes, you can. Ready? Let's go. I love doing that. Um, BOI is free to file, correct? Miranda, we need a broker guard application system for carriers, something like Freight Guard. So interesting that you should mention it. Recently, someone brought it to my attention during a live that one of these YouTubers I watch, he is the owner of Alville Trucking. He's Ukrainian. He actually interviewed in English, interviewed the owner of Freight Guard. And that guy is planning to create a carrier 511. Now, this is not going to work in the same way a freight guard works, like for brokers against carriers, but this is going to work like a setup system, something like Highway. The thing is, carriers who are set up through that system get to see all their freight guards if there are any. But it's an interesting little thing. The problem is with like what you said that there should be a system for carriers, something like Freight Guard. There are systems like that. It's just not a lot of people use it, which renders them kind of useless. It's the same thing as a strike in trucking. It's a great idea. And there are folks who want to do it, but if there are not enough people who are on board, renders it useless. There we go. That's awesome. Some brokers won't work with you like ITF Group. And once you ask why, they never explain. Yeah, that happens. That happened a lot to us where I would ask, well, what's the problem? Why we're a 5-year-old carrier, you know, everything is good. What's the problem? The compliance team doesn't want to tell you, is not at liberty to discuss something like that. Motive tracks your equipment by the minute and tracks all incidents such as speeding, hard braking, corners too hard. If you ever get into an accident, you're screwed and set up for a nuclear verdict. That is true. That is very, very true. Um, yeah, that does happen. I agree. Court have a hold order for right now. Yes, for BOI. So you don't have to file until they figure it out. If it is justified beyond the 14th Amendment. Yeah, correct. So currently BOI is on pause. You don't have to um, file. Don't do it. You need training. My gosh, I maybe missed something. What did I miss? Oh, thoughts on Prime going all lease and driver facing cameras. I think that's a follow-up to that. Yeah, no, driver facing cameras, bad, 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 bad. Any carrier that requires you to have a driver facing camera, run. That's my opinion. Uh, where can I get that Kentucky permits? Thanks again for your generosity. Yeah, let me send you a link. It's going to be in the chat box. KY GT permit. So weight distance permit. So you're gonna click here. So here we go. KY permit. I just sent it in the chat. That's where you're going to go and create a new account. It's really simple. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to renew it. You just have to make sure to file the taxes every quarter. uh, There's your sign to start making an exit plan, folks, being undercut by 50%. Yeah, you know who can move for cheap mega carriers? They have the volume advantage. They really kill the game for us. 100%. Yeah. And on top of them moving some of their capacity to the spot market really kills the competition as well. Um, that's why I use Blue Ink Tech. Old one. Recording super basic, not really badly priced. That's an ELD. Mega actually get good cents per mile because they can guarantee a certain amount of available drivers in the area. Mega carriers, their cost to operate, I would argue, is much lower. Uh, much low. You mean rate per mile, right? Not cost per mile. Their cost per mile is much lower because they notoriously pay their I like to call them team members, drivers, like crap. They pay horrific rates. And on top of it, they do get bigger discounts because of the amount of trucks. You know, even when they order, if they order new trucks, they get a huge discount because of the volume they order. So yeah, they're saving money everywhere. They can drive for less. Uh, thank you for the hearts. Thank you. Little hearts. Do you drive your own trucks or do you hire other people to drive the loads? So I don't drive. Personally, I don't have a CDL. I have two business partners and we all also hired drivers, but I do not drive. No, I'm scared. I always tell the story how I'm afraid not so much of driving a semi truck as of the height of the semi truck, which is weird. As I mentioned in my last live, I'm a rescue diver and I have no problem jumping into the water with the abyss below me, but I have a problem sitting in a semi truck while it's driving because I feel like I'm going to somehow fall out of the window and die. Ah, oh my gosh, no. Hi, only Alex. That's so sad. Don't say that. You made it. We're still here. We're still having fun. uh, for people trying to start their new MC, hard to make good money in the first 6 months. If the truck is paid off and works 7 days, you can make some profit by experience. 100%. That is really good advice. When you get a new MC, you have to understand that a lot of brokers are going to kind of no, they will refuse to work with you because of how new you are. Um, yeah, there are going to be some that work with you, but it's just going to be harder to find. So when you're searching for a load, it's not like every load that comes out you will be able to get. But after 6 months, or especially after a year, it gets easier. Oh my gosh, I lost my place. Where was I? Oh, this one. I found you in my recommended videos and I have watched your videos for days now, considering becoming a dispatcher. Dispatching is to, well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for watching the videos. Dispatching is fun. It's a little bit stressful, but it is a fun job. I personally love it. I do dispatch my own trucks, but I love the market knowledge it gives me, and I keep up with the market while dispatching. I thought you were Puerto Rican or Cuban because of your Spanish name, Miranda. No, my name actually comes from, it's funny. I was born in Ukraine, in Mariupol. And I guess my mom, when she was pregnant with me, there was a girl, which is interesting why her name was Miranda. She was living in a like apartment, and there was a yard, and there was a girl always running around, and her mom would always call her Miranda, come home. So that's where my name came from. I was supposed to be Shorena until my mom heard the name Miranda. uh, how is maintenance when the truck isn't moving? The truck not moving is almost as bad as plain not taking care of it like any other machine. Yeah, correct. It starts, I mean, when we had situations where our truck was parked for a prolonged period of time, all of a sudden, yeah, you have to jump start it, of course. And yeah, it deteriorates. You have to keep it keep it maintained and well taken care of. I live in California for 10 years. My best decision ever is moving from there. Other state opened me the opportunity to much better. Oh, you've lived in California and you moved out of California and that was your best decision? I think that's what you're saying because I want to move out of California. I think it's a beautiful state. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I think there are some, depending on where you go, of course, there are some fantastic people here, but it's just policy wise and it's different. I think yeah, I don't feel like I belong here. I don't fit in here, like a fish out of water, kind of. My company has the same accent. I love it and love the compliments. Watch all your videos 98% of the time. My loads match your market watches. Happy 2025 to you and all the drivers in here. Yes, happy 2025. Um, yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be a better year. Um, they are electric with diesel gens. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I just realized your name because someone said Sinusaurus Rex. I love it. Where is the YouTube plaque? Oh yeah, no, I don't have it anymore. So the uh I have the little letter from YouTube, but the plaque itself was taken by my son. I promised it to him when we were getting close to 100,000. He asked me, I promised it. So now it's somewhere in his room and he will not let me even look at it. Yeah, like this. No more monthly revenue videos. Yeah, I stopped a lot of videos that I used to do. Monthly revenue videos were one of them. I stopped the monthly market updates where we compare month to month. I want to see, we'll see what happens in 2025. I want to see how to structure this channel. Hungry for sweets. Me too. Oh my God, I love sweets, but I'm keto, so I can't. I eat these. They're called monk bars, and they're really good. They're sweet, but they're sweetened with stevia. I have 5 months of authority and still working with TQL. Hard to find loads other than TQL. Is that normal? Yes, it is. Mhm. Mm. Especially right now. TQL is one of the only brokers that will work with someone who has less than 6 months or a year of authority on most loads. Um, there's a bootleg freight guard for carriers. Had a broker fake weight on a load knowingly, refused to own, by the way, for of oh wait, I lost it. Reported on truck stop. They got their MCS 150 banned from truck stop listing. Interesting. Hmm, I didn't know that. Can you report it on truck stop? Yeah, I know that on truck stop you can report. I need to look into that ability to report. um, Hi, quick question. Non-CDL trucks need a permit for NY to do business in or drive through that city? That's a great question. I know that for the most part you do need a permit. It's called the highway use tax permit. In terms of non-CDL trikes, trikes. In terms of non-CDL trucks, I am not sure. Yeah. Hello, do you run a credit check on the broker every time you use them? Yes, every single broker. I do it through the factoring company through RTS, but you can do it if you have like uh, a more powerful subscription on DAT or on Truck Stop. You can do it through them as well, but I do it on my factoring company's website. Broke tracking call checking Pepsi loads. They were unprofessional with their communication. I called for 10 detention. They said no because I was unprofessional. Yeah, only Alex. These brokers, they will use any excuse, really. They will use any excuse not to pay. Not all of them. Okay, let's be fair. I always kind of lump them into one, but let's be fair. There are some really great brokers. There are. It's just the big ones usually disappoint. A friend of mine says brokers don't work too much with new MC numbers, but I can't have my MC longer than 90 days without insurance. Is there any way to work around this? No. No, so you won't even if a broker were able to work with a completely brand new authority, your authority is not active until you have insurance. The first thing brokers ask for when getting set up is your authority letter, which you get after getting insurance, your certificate of insurance, usually listing them as a certificate holder, and your W-9. So you are not able to actually work until you have insurance. This is a question for you guys. Any good companies in Texarkana that I can pick up course from and bootleg it back to Atlanta? Does anyone know for Daniel? My year has been decent. That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, the year for us, the year has been manageable for the most part. There was a moment where we're like, oh crap, it was pretty um, challenging, but we overcame it, thank goodness. Um, for us, it's more about the getting our expenses under control, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's definitely more about the expenses, not so much the market, but it's challenging to find loads here and there. It's challenging to find, but was it impossible? No. I can't say it was impossible. I guess everything, when you compare things, it's all relative, right? It wasn't complete disaster. It was just not easy. It's more work for less money. That's the best way to describe it. This year has been way more work for way less money. The right way that's not true. BOI is back on. They won the appeal. No, no, the right way to truck. So I'm gonna check it just to here, 1 second. So just so you guys are so that everyone's on the same page because this is important. Um, again, yeah. So, yes, first, let's go through the whole thing of how it happened. Uh, where was it? Yeah, it's hard to tell. You know what? I'm going to post a link for you guys so you can see it. Basically, the right way to trucks, just so that everyone's on the same page. The BOI filing was there, right? You had to file BOI. Then they threw it out and they said, you know what? You do not have to file it. Then, yes, they said that it's back on. You have to file it by January 13th. They gave an in extension. But on the 27th of December, 2 days ago, so on Friday, they said that as of Friday, December 27th, small business owners affected by the Corporate Transparency Act do not have to file a beneficial ownership information report. It's just going back and forth. So it's back off again. The question is, will it go back on? It's crazy. Yeah. Yes, I worked for a mega carrier my first year, and they said they only need to profit 200 per load because they have thousands of trucks moving every single day. Yeah, the power of numbers. Mm, hey, is it true that you subtract your EPU weight from your truck and then be over 80K? I heard a YouTuber say something like this. I never heard of that. Can anyone help? Help a girl out. Cool. I'm a rescue diver also. Yeah, I love diving. I miss diving so much. Killer for cash. Hey, Miranda, hope you're stress free and you and your family are doing well during these holidays. 2 questions. How many lives have you saved? And how many trucks makes you a mega carrier? I have not saved a single life that I'm aware of, never had to. I'm a rescue diver, but it's on paper. I never actually had experience saving a life. I was trained in it, but never had an experience of saving a life. How many trucks makes you a mega carrier? That's an excellent question. 500, 1,000? I don't know. That is actually an interesting question. What are the interest rates to finance a truck right now? That is a difficult question to answer because it depends on how big your company is and so on and so forth. From what I have seen lately, it's between 9 and 12%. Love the videos. Thank you. Where do you see non-CDL trucking in 2025? That's a good question. I'm not as familiar with the non-CDL trucking world. Uh, I usually talk from experience, semi trucks, flatbeds, reefers, dry vans. But I'm guessing the non-CDL trucking world usually follows the CDL trucking world. So it depends on what happens. I don't have a prediction for 2025 at the moment. I wish I did. I know that things look to be getting better, but we just don't feel them yet. And the question is, will they continue getting better? I know that January usually is a very slow month. So the first month and February as well. So yeah. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much. There is a law for it. It's set at 450 to 500 pounds and it's only on drives. So if you're over 34K on drives by that amount, you're good if you have APU. Why does California slap an environmental tax on almost everything? I actually need to check my receipts. Yeah, California is very all about going green. Also, what is the best CLD to use to cheat hours? I don't know. Paper logbook? Yeah. Miranda, I envy you that you haven't heard of Super Ego. They're out of Chicago and they're known to pay dirt cheap and hire the bottom of the barrel drivers. They have trailers with huge, ridiculous logo. Maybe that's where, because it sounded very familiar. I thought it was a broker for a second. Maybe I've seen somewhere their trailer, but yeah, I'm not familiar. That's terrible. Mm. Um, California is bad. Go there twice a month and have to fight for parking with yes. Yeah, no, it's impossible to park in California. There are several places that are pretty good. There is a TA, Wheeler Ridge in Arvin. There is a pilot in Frazier Park, Lebec, California. There are a ton of TAs and pilots in Fontana, but they are usually after a certain time. There is not going to be any parking unless you do prime parking where you have to pay 22 bucks for it. And there's also Three Sisters Truck Stop in Fontana, but it's also paid, if I'm not mistaken. Have you noticed that Highway and RMIS wants all your personal data, including selfies, in order to proceed with them? Also, if your e-log is not connected to Highway, you're automatically deactivated. Yes, I have noticed it. Yes, I have noticed it. This is all about preventing fraud, but my gosh, I have a problem with when, I'm a very private person. I like privacy. I appreciate people who appreciate privacy, and that just goes against everything I believe in. But this is the way the industry is. What are you going to do? Right. The only issue with truck stop reporting is they basically moderate a conversation between you and the broker, and your info is plain view. So you risk getting a freight guard, which is now permanent. Yeah. That freight guard business really makes it difficult. uh, let's see. All right. My goodness. We've been here for an hour, 44 minutes. We're doing great, I think, if I do say so myself. All right, let's do another 6 minutes and then I must eat something again. I'm going to just answer some questions that I have not answered before. This will be uploaded on YouTube after for you guys to rewatch if you're interested. Da, 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 da. Um, let's see, let's see, let's see. Hmm. Yes, Happy New Year to all drivers. Hope next year is a better one for everyone. 100%. Thank you. I love that. 7.77. Three sevens. Lucky number. Thank you so much for your support. Sorry, didn't mean to put you on the spot. If it makes you feel better, you might be saving our lives with your accurate and insightful information. No worries. No, you didn't put me in the spot, but it's actually true. actually saved anyone's life, at least not that I know of. Not directly. Not that I remember. Uh, but I'm glad to be of some help on this channel. Plus, I learn a lot from you guys as well. Thanks, Miranda. I just got the Kentucky permit. I used to pay every month $40. You saved me a lot. Thanks. Whoa, who was charging you $40? Third party, probably provider. How's the truck industry doing right now? Are things feeling better with Trump being president-elect? The trucking industry, it's more of the same, to be quite honest. The spot market is not, there's no real change at the moment that you can feel. The holiday season is giving a little bit of a bump, but yeah, there are some changes in the general market that are starting to influence the spot market. The problem is capacity. That's the ongoing problem that I'm seeing is capacity. It's just, it's diluting the whole situation. Super Ego is a holding company. There's like 100 different XYZ goes under that umbrella company. They're a cartel. Sounds like it. One last nightmare run post. Crane, Iowa to Texas. Drop at wind site. Where was I? Landowner entrapped 14-inch trucks because the extended her during the way out damaged it around. Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, there are a lot of horror stories for sure. Trucking is filled with them. January will be a dead market. Yeah, it usually is. Although this January for us was actually interesting. It wasn't that dead, but I think it had to do with the weather. The weather was so bad that a lot of capacity left for the time being. And yeah, I got to the end of the comments. I can't believe it. Anyway, guys, yeah, I think I'm going to go and start planning on what ingredients I need in order to bake all those delicious things I will not be able to eat. And also, I must eat something. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. It was really fun. I haven't done a video in 5 days, which made me feel like I'm failing everybody for some reason. Yeah. So, okay, 2 more questions. If you want January to be a good market for you, get a green hauler. Green is forever stable. Okay, money not great, but it's better than sitting. Yeah. That's an interesting idea. I have never, I mean, not that never, I'm not ready yet to look at other equipment types, but that is a good idea for the future. Is it better to have MC number 90 days old or do we start right away? It's better. The older it is, the better for you, but you have to activate it first with insurance. Do you celebrate New Year? Of course, every year. We celebrate New Year with the family, and we always try to invite in a better year, basically, right? So, yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. I hope that new year 2025 is much, much easier than 2024. And here's to the market turning finally, hopefully. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.